I find the Wood Wide Web an inspiring idea because it exemplifies the vast interconnectivity of Earth's ecosystems, where every species depends on other species to survive. I'm Tom Crowther. I'm an ecologist at ETH Zurich and chair of the board for the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. I specialize in ecosystem ecology at a global scale. And I worked with the Our Living World team to help bring cutting-edge science to life in the series. Our work at the Crowther Lab aims to generate a holistic understanding of global ecosystems, which help to regulate Earth's climate. And in doing so, we hope to harness the potential of these ecosystems in the fight against global threats like biodiversity loss and climate change. A fundamental principle of ecology is that nothing exists in isolation. Every species depends on other species to survive, to maintain the balance in our global system. And my favorite part of this remarkable system is the incredible network of biodiversity that exists below the ground, in our soils. One of the most inspiring parts is the mycorrhizal fungi, which grow in association with plants. These fungi connect with tree roots, allowing the exchange of nutrients and carbon between the two so that both species can survive. Because the fungi are more successful than plants at accessing nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen from the soil, they can then share those nutrients with their growing tree. In exchange, the tree captures carbon from the air, and they provide that to the fungus to facilitate continued growth. These immense fungal systems not only recycle nutrients, but they also lead to the storage of carbon within the soils, helping us in the fight against climate change. We simply could not achieve our biodiversity or climate targets without the help of these below-ground systems. Connected by this vast underground network, trees benefit from the flow of water and nutrients, helping to support every tree in the forest. This is the wonder of the Wood Wide Web. Worldwide, the scale of these underground fungal networks is staggering. Laid end to end, they would stretch more than halfway across our galaxy. And all across the planet, they work with their photosynthesizing partners. And the best part is that together they work to lock away a whopping 3/4 of our terrestrial carbon in our soils. We know that networks like this stretch across forests worldwide. We've mapped the world's trees and mycorrhizal fungi across the globe. Some of this research catalyzed the UN's Trillion Trees campaign and the Decade on Ecosystem Restoration to protect and revitalize nature across our planet. The goal is to try to revitalize the ecological connections. It's not just about planting trees, it's about restoring the connections between the diverse underground network and the healthy plants above ground. And if they can regenerate naturally, then the ecosystems can recover to full state. This remarkable web of connections has inspired us to develop a global tool for conservation. In the same way that trees and fungi share resources, we are collaborating with partners worldwide to share research data and support one of the most ambitious restoration projects on Earth. This is Restore. Restore is an online digital platform built to facilitate the restoration movement. It's like a Google Maps, but for restoration. So instead of seeing shops and hairdressers, you see conservation and restoration initiatives. And it allows everyone everywhere to engage in the restoration movement. You can support those efforts by volunteering or donating or buying their sustainably sourced products, or even by restoring your back garden to bring back the biodiversity that we all depend on. The vast interconnectivity of ecological systems is what makes them sustainable in the long term. It's what makes them work. And this is the inspiration for the work that we do in the Crowther Lab, both collecting data from experimentalists and then sharing that knowledge with experts all over the planet who are revitalizing ecosystems to their full health.
I'm Daisy Dent, and I'm a tropical forest ecologist, and I'm based between Germany and Panama, where I do most of my research. I'm interested in the interactions that underpin forest recovery, particularly interactions between plants and animals. In tropical forest ecosystems, almost all tree species are pollinated by animals. So that means that for trees to effectively complete their life cycles, for pollen to be carried from one flower to another, for seeds to form, and then those seeds to be carried to the place where they germinate, we need animals. And anything from kind of 60 to 90% of tree species are dispersed by animals. And without them, we lose those services that move plants around. We can think of these fruit-eating, seed-dispersing animals as allies, as helpers in restoration. Animals can even move around fungal spores. So those mycorrhizal fungi are actually also moved around by animals. And so we see these deep interconnections between the above and below ground systems. So it's that relationship, the connectivity between the species that really makes an ecosystem and also makes it resilient in the long term.
My name is Rebecca Cole, and I am a restoration ecologist. I collaborate with the Crowther Lab to support the global restoration effort. I grew up in southern Costa Rica. I got to witness this dramatic change of the landscape. So land was cleared for agriculture, and I got to see this very rapid transformation of what was a wilderness into a completely deforested, very degraded landscape. And I also got to live some of the outcomes of that degradation that impacted people's livelihoods. Engaging local community is really central to the success of restoration projects. Whatever you do as far as restoration isn't going to last if the people who live there don't buy into it, if it doesn't fit into their livelihoods and into their values. So they have to be part of the solution. They have to be part of that restoration effort. We have about 30 different partnerships who are setting up field experiments to help us understand how to do restoration more efficiently. We're very much learning from the local community, as well as trying to generate new knowledge to share back with them. The Restore platform was just a wonderful way to bring visibility to those projects, as well as generate information that they might not be able to go out and collect otherwise. And I think that as more people join the platform and include their data, the more rich and useful it will become.
One of the biggest challenges that people have when they're doing restoration is that they say they're fighting these challenges on their own. But on Restore, every one of those projects becomes part of the environmental movement. We can use global ecology to sharpen up our climate models, understand how these ecosystems are changing, and also how we should manage them in the fight against biodiversity loss and climate change. We can't save the world in isolation, but like the Wood Wide Web, if we can work together to share our resources and information, we can all connect in the global efforts to revitalize our planet's life support system.